So my group consisting of myself, Haikal.
And I'm Danya.
I'm Ilari. I'm Ili.
So we'll be focusing on the Form 4 textbook on the chapter 3 called Wildlife Warriors.
Alright, so for our class, we are hoping that our class is in an urban area consisting of 25 students, and we also set their level of proficiency to intermediate.
Consisting of the second question, identify and analyze the content of the chapter based on the 4 factors. Okay, so the first factor that we found is the program factor. What we can identify and analyze from the chapter is that basically program factors is focused on the activity and how the students can actually comprehend those activities. So the activities are not that complicated, it's not that easy, but then it's also a challenge to those who can't actually adapt to according to the level of proficiency that we chose. But it's actually moderate for them to try, and it's okay. Basically, it's a great example. Yeah, so that's for program factors.
As for the teacher's knowledge, this is where the teacher is supposed to have a background knowledge and also a mastery of the topic. Alright, we do this because we want the students, we ourselves want our method, our delivery to be efficient and easily understood by the students. So that's why we try to extract the vocabularies as much as we can so that they can understand the topic beforehand, and we prepare ourselves and the topic to accommodate to their proficiency.
Okay, as for the content factors, we as a teacher, we might need to preview all the content first for the chapters in the textbook. Based on the chapter that we chose, chapter 3 from the Form 4 English textbook, all the content is appropriate for the students to understand. Okay, as for the vocabulary, it is quite challenging, but somehow the student will still manage to find the exact meaning of the vocab. Also, how to apply the vocab in a sentence. And yeah.
Okay, so for the last factor, which is the learner's factor, so we decided to do intermediate level for the students. So that's why the student's attention span should be accommodative towards the textbook, because we're only teaching the first 3 chapters of the textbook.
I'll be doing about the preview and pre-teaching strategies. The preview and pre-teaching strategies is basically focused on the teacher's background knowledge of the topic. Okay, so as a teacher, yes, we have to understand the topic fully before we are able to teach the students. According to the pre-teaching strategies, the teachers will have to extract all the vocabularies that are relevant to the topic before teaching the topic beforehand. For example, in Form 4's Chapter 3 topic, Wildlife Warriors, as you can see, the students are bound to come across the words like conservation and maybe exploitation, perhaps even emerge or gentleness. What I can do as a teacher is that I can first write these words on a whiteboard and ask them to rewrite them. After that, I'll also write the explanation or synonyms for these words. And then, of course, they have to write them again in their book. I'll explain what these words mean, and I'll also categorize them into their respective parts of speech. After I'm done categorizing these words into their respective parts of speech, I'll remind the students how to make sentences using nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and all of the parts of speech that I can find that are available from the previous words. This part is extremely crucial because only then the students will understand the structure of the sentences. Alright, for example, the words emerge from just now. The turtles emerge from the sand. It's a very simple sentence, and that's what I wanted for my students. It's only so that they can understand how do they use these words. Moving on, this book had provided an intermediate level of passage for the students, also regarding the wildlife conservation. Okay, so as you can see, this book had also used the strategy of preview and pre-teaching. Alright, look here. They had already extracted the words that are available in these texts. So the book, having already extracted the vocabulary, allows the teacher to first explain what these words mean before furthering on to the passage. Preview and pre-teaching strategy also involves the teacher to extract the main ideas from the topic. And as you can see, right here, the book also has a few activities where the students will have to find the main ideas from the passage. The activities given here are identifying if the statements are true or false, and even small discussions. Alright, so that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, as for my part, I'll be talking about the materials to motivate the reader's strategy. First of all, to keep the students' interest and to motivate them to read are sometimes very challenging. So one of the keys to keep the interest is to provide them sources that they will have interest in. Okay, such as the magazine, newspaper, biographies, computer edit materials, travel brochure, sport page, and so on. Okay, from the Form 4 English textbook, chapter 3, the topic that we chose, it provides a framework of a magazine article, if you can see it. And for me, for the Form 4 student, it would be best if the effort comes from us, the teacher, to provide the materials needed. As for the activity provided in the textbook, we'll be needing a magazine as reference, and in the magazine it will be a lot of any other information for the students to take a look at. And yeah, okay, as for any other example, maybe they can, as I mentioned before, the travel brochure, maybe we can, since the chapter is about a wildlife warrior, a wildlife habit, maybe we can change it into wildlife information brochure. And when it comes to sport pages that I mentioned before, we can also change it into the related topic that we chose, which is wildlife warrior. And yeah.
Okay, so since we're taking 4 strategies, I'll be explaining about selecting textbooks. So basically, the first factor of selecting a textbook is you have to look if the color, if the textbook itself is attractive or colorful. Basically, for the 3rd chapter of the Form 4 textbook, it's the first introduction page is actually really colorful, as you can see. But then after that, it goes on with the black and white scope, and a few pages after that, there's also color again. Then it's not that attractive or colorful. So I think you can improvise and adapt through changing the color scheme of the textbook so that we can actually attract more of students' attention. And the second factor is self-explanatory. Basically, the textbook itself, it already has parts where it covers the students' understanding on things, such as, for this one, it covers on about conversation where they talked about swimming and snorkeling and tagging a turtle, watching hatching emerges, and hiking. So basically it covers up all of that part. So for the 3rd factor, it's self-correcting. Basically, self-correcting is where the students can actually understand on what they're doing and they can self-correct on their own. Like, I'm sure there's no errors, but then if they look at it, they will know what to do on the activity with our guideline. And 4th one is reusable workbook. Basically, this textbook is reusable. As you know, the government has already implemented a system established where all students will be reusing the same textbook every year. Okay, like this book. Yeah, ta-da! And the 5th one is whether it has an educational software or audio tapes. Basically, audio tapes, we can provide them. It's just we have to find it really according to the activity that we are actually implementing in class. But the educational software, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's set, the government will give an educational software at the back of each textbook. But then so far for this one, we haven't found it. And the last one is whether it has a lot of pictures, charts, and graphs. Basically, it has a lot of pictures, like pictures that can actually make the students entertained. But then they don't provide any graphs or charts. Basically, it kind of depends on the chapter and the topic that you're taking, because for now we're actually using for a wildlife chapter. So that's all from me.
Okay, so for the next one, which is the color coding strategy, that is a strategy not most teachers do, but some teachers who are organized will do this, particularly with let's say if you're learning English, you're teaching English. So get your textbook. So for us, we decided to do the English font for textbook. This is the chapter 3, which is Wildlife Warriors, where you'll be learning about animals. Now, so by color coding, I meant by using post-it notes like this one. This one is very, very colorful. And then the next one is like this. This one has arrows. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of how we are going to do it. So let's just say we were to choose a few. Okay, let's just say we were supposed to choose this text. So it has a really nice passage. This is No Ordinary Souls by Atira Abbas. So let's say a student cannot use a highlighter for this one. You cannot write anything on a textbook because you're gonna return it back to the government. So what I would do is you get the textbook and just photocopy everything. Okay, so first of all, take a highlighter. So ask your students to buy a highlighter. It's really cheap outside. So, or you can provide the highlighters if you want to. So let's just say the passage, the text or the essay that you're going to do with your students. Every essay has a thesis statement and have examples, especially from 4 students. So all you do need is to take an highlighter. You can take any color that you want, but for us, we would do the thesis statement as a yellow color, and then the example, let's say a pink or a red. Usually pink, because red, you can't really see the text if you highlight it red. So you can take the photocopied paper, and then you should ask your students to take the pen and just highlight the important things, just like the thesis statements and the examples. Or you can use another color to do a green highlighter for highlight topics, or blue for definitions. So obviously you can't write anything on a textbook, and please don't recommend to your students to write anything on a textbook because you're gonna return it to the government. Okay, and then next you would do is, for me, I would grab an exercise book. So in every class, in every school, there will be an exercise book, an A5 exercise book. So that exercise book will do the vocab section for your students. So you take the exercise book and then you would write, so example, this is an exercise book, so you will write vocabulary, so for their vocabulary needs. So what I would do is, if your students have a difficult time in understanding the word, the meaning, the bombastic words that they don't understand, so you would take the words that the students doesn't understand, and they would refer to a dictionary, and then they would write the words and write the meaning of the word that they didn't understand in the book. And then you can use this arrow thing to highlight